So the weatherman has called for a possible polar vortex starting sometime this week and continuing for the next few weeks. Colder than normal temperatures, could be down 20 degrees colder than normal. So what we're going to do today is, after we spoke to the vet, everything came back normal on the calves, so it must have just been some stress or maybe just adjusting to the grain we had here. So what we're going to do is open up this front lot. I'm going to run a temporary electric fence line out to the road, so then that way they have this whole front area to get into and explore and get used to our electric fence. I'm gonna put a round bale down for them. I'm gonna grab a round bale down to take down and put on the feeding floor for the steers, because yesterday Rachel was able to give them a bale, but they need to get one in there for the rest of the week. We're just gonna leave the bale feeder on the feeding floor where it's at, because with it being really cold temperatures, I'm gonna make sure to put a couple bales of straw into the lean-to for them later on in this week once the temperature starts dropping, because they'll probably be hanging out in that area a lot. So we'll just leave their hay there so it's close to where they'll be hanging out, so they have their food and water and shelter all right in that general area. So we'll get started putting this fence out. Well, I got the fence put up. It's not as perfect as I'd want it to be. I'll have to work on it a little bit more, but we needed to get it finished today to get them turned out. So I'm just going to go ahead and let them loose, everything set up, hooked back up just like it was when we had the steers up here. So I'll just open their gate here, let them out, and then I'll start tearing down their pen behind them. And that's why we like to start the heifers and the steers we get. Whenever we bring new animals here, we put them up here and then start them on the electric fence in this littler area, because you could see she went right through the electric fence. Had her front, one of her hooves on the other side of it, had her whole leg over it, and it was shocked her, and she came back into this pen, and then she sniffed the fence and it shocked her again. So even if she did run right through it, which she could, she's still in a fenced in area here in this front pasture. But this way it allows them to get used to it in a smaller area, and we can keep a better eye on them because we're a lot closer to them. Well, I had to run the steers off the feeding floor because they could hear me up there moving around the hay, so they were all crowding around up here looking for some. So we got it there in the feeder. We'll let them back up now.
So we got the heifer's pen all rearranged. They now have this feeding gate here, so we can just put a round bale up into it. They can have their own round bale, and when they eat it down, we can just keep pushing it forward. We check on them daily, so we'll be able to notice when they're ready to have it closer to them very easily. We also put some extra straw in here so that their bedding is fresh and clean, and that they're all ready for any impending cold weather that may come our way. We did leave these two gates up just in case we need to pin them back up for some reason, that they're easily there and all we have to do is throw a gate in front. We did move their waterer over here. It was right here in the open, so we wanted to move it, number one, closer to the electric source for the heater, but also up against a fence so that they're just not walking through it. So now the heifers have this entire pasture here to roam around in, and then there's an alleyway back here behind the barn. They have chosen back there in the corner. Steven says that's where a lot of the calves like to just sit. Maybe it's because it's like the furthest point of the pasture and they can kind of keep an eye on everything, but for whatever reason, that's where they're sitting at today. So I just went and shook the feed bag because we're still feeding them a little bit of grain. And they stood up, but they didn't want to come. I'm not sure why. So hopefully I'm going to leave them alone here for a minute and go get some straw for the steers to lay on. But hopefully they'll come around and check out the feed. I just want to make sure that they're aware they can get back through that alleyway there and make sure they can get back into where their water is. And there's nothing keeping them away from that. It's just cows are funny sometimes. They don't think they can do certain things. Just got done putting down 2 bales of straw here for the steers. It's just important that they have a dry place to sit when it gets chilly outside. It's always good for them to have clean, fresh bedding, and we like to do that for them. So they're all set for any incoming cold weather now. So that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.